I am early. I wish I had some pretty music. Do 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 do. You know that software where you can put music for people to wait. I'm 2 minutes early. Who am I? That never happens. Hello to another early bird. I was kind of letting people trying to have some music because I got on here early. You may say your name. You can be anonymous. I look like I'm getting a tan. It's actually an accidental sunburn. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Hello, everybody. Hello, please say hello. Say your name. Happy Mother's Day. You know, I did not consciously know it was Mother's Day, but my mother was heavy on my mind this morning because I have been talking about narcissism again and the spiritual thing behind it, and how I have been able to see things clairvoyantly by working on my psychic development over the years, and that it's kind of a double-edged sword, which I want to talk about tonight. Okay, it doesn't show that I'm talking on my live here on my post. Maybe it takes a few minutes to kick in. But yeah, I started remembering her and how she'd actually led me to sing a song that I felt like was a crossing over song. So there is an essence. Hi, thank you. There's an essence of the narcissist person still in them, even though they get separated. That's a subject for another video and another time. But there is an essence of them that does remain. And she had asked me to sing this song. So I felt like it was a song she wanted for safe passage, so that whatever these things were that she might have been aware of didn't consume her and take her into that place. So where I am, it was over 80 degrees today. I took another walk around the lake. I put on this top I haven't put on since 2020. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm at least 5 pounds heavier. So I put on a waist trainer. I don't know. I've been walking almost every day, 25 minutes outside around the lake. And I felt like my clothes were getting a little bit looser. But for some reason, when you're drinking liquids all day, it's like you're full, like a water balloon. So how was your Mother's Day, if you were a mother? If that's you, Linda, thank you for stopping by very much. You're like a mother figure to me. So I was very weepy today, and I texted my friend, and she said, "Yes, I do have a few minutes." We've been trying to get together for 2 weeks, and we went over to a really nice little Mexican restaurant, and she loved it. She hadn't been there yet. And she said, "Happy Mother's Day." And I said, "Oh my gosh, is it Mother's Day?" So I wished her happy Mother's Day. She spent some time with me, and then she had to go because she's getting ready to go see her relative in another country. I got very sweaty, very hot, so I haven't laid down to take a nap yet. Drinking coffee. I have some updates. I got very excited. I made a short. Hello, oh Linda. This is so funny. I appreciate you communicating with me in this way. You're you're a good friend. You're wise to stay indoors. It's really hot. So my updates are that my oil for the moon goddess Lilith is finished. And my bottles and my jewelry boxes have arrived. And so this dark moon meditation oil for the goddess Lilith, it's going to be in this bottle. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I think it's probably half an ounce. And you can dot it on your third eye before meditation, your throat for self-expression. These are connecting points for when you're going to meditate. And then the jewelry boxes I finally got for putting my pendants in, which I've been talking about. As you develop spiritually, you need more protection because there's a lot of spiritual parasites on this planet, and they have inhabited a lot of people. And sometimes people can connect to you by looking at you in your eye, stopping to talk to you, or just hanging around you for a little while. And so as your energy gets better and better, as you're eliminating a lot of negative memories and thought habits, you have to have some type of a protective talisman. And this one is for the ancient goddess of love and family, Astarte. That is a symbol of Venus, along with the symbols of her holding 2 stalks of wheat, because she was also one of the things that she was assigned. She was the governess of harvesting, of the when to till the soil, when to plant the seeds, how to grow, when to harvest. All right. She's a very, very misunderstood ancient goddess. Yes, you are like a big sister, okay? Big sister to me. So that's my update. I will have to take a picture tonight and put it on my coffee account. And I'm going to offer, along with that, a free report to let you know exactly where the placement of the Lilith moon is in your chart, and how you can very safely, gently start working with that aspect of yourself. All right, shadow work can be part of psychic development, and you need to do it slowly over time. But yeah, presentation is important. So now I will take this off. The next thing I have to do is actually order some self-adjusting ropes. Some of them are waxed, some of them are not, and I need to see which one I prefer, and then I'll be able to put those talismans on that rope that I think is the best, and then put it in the jewelry box, and that will be posted also on my coffee account. The pendants are already posted there, and so they're consecrated. And for the price, which is not as expensive as some other people who do consecrate their talismans. I had this one designed, custom made by an artist, Elena Lemmy, who made a design just for me in this material with an open weave design. She never duplicated it. She said, I will never duplicate it. So mine is unique. And she's really not running her business anymore. She had moved to another state. And I guess she just decided that she really just had too much going on with her family. I don't know. But she's just not doing her art anymore. So art is a very powerful assistance for those of us that are working to develop our third eye and our psychic self. Okay. Now, some people have a natural propensity towards it. Like Linda, you are a Pisces, and that is the most spiritual sign in the zodiac. So you may have already had visions and dreams that were interesting. Maybe you didn't quite understand them. And I do have a dream course that helps people learn how to understand their dreams as well as remember them, and then even program yourself. Oh, thank you. Very pretty. Thank you, Linda. And then program yourself to have a particular kind of a dream. Now, when it comes to visions and dreams, it is like the tarot. It is an art. Okay, it's not an exact science. But if you do have a connection to your higher self or a spirit guide, they can be actually giving you some accurate information for what is going to be coming up. But you have to use discernment. And this is one thing I was told many years ago. Because when you're receiving information from the astral, from the spirit, there's a lot of different things going on. Everything is happening at once in the astral. And so you have to kind of really be careful and see what it is. I started making a dream notebook so that I could go back and refer to it and try to figure out what was going on. Now, as you are growing, you're going to encounter other people that are struggling. You can pick up on their thoughts, their feelings, and you dream about it. And this can be confusing. You wonder, why is that happening? You have the ability eventually to be like a radio. And whatever it is that you decide to tune into for a few hours or a few days, you can actually get insight into that. So you have to really decide, do I really want to focus on this or that? Now, the good thing is that comes in handy if you feel like someone at work is trying to sabotage you, or anybody else for that matter. So if you decide to start working on your spiritual side through meditation and then positive affirmations that help you let go of past events, memories, thoughts, and feelings, then you're going to have a lighter, brighter energy and aura, and you're going to start attracting other people. In my last video, which I made a video yesterday because I just felt so compelled to do it. I talked about how a medium I have been following has been saying a lot of things that resonated with me. And in having people kind of come around me or watch me or hang around me, they were tapping into me. They weren't striking up a conversation, but they were tapping into me. And some people can see your aura. I met a guy who told me he could see my aura. They're going to want to hang out around you. They're going to want to tap into that good energy. Even the parasites, guys, I'm telling you, They may prefer negative energy, but energy is energy and they'll take whatever they can get. If they can get a nice, lighter, brighter energy that makes them feel better, and it does make them feel better if they're sick, then they start to really want that more and more and more. And if you are not wearing some type of a protective amulet, I have 2 now, and I know some people wear 3 or 4 under their shirt. You know, you can smudge yourself in the morning with sage or oud, or you can like wear a perfume with patchouli. Patchouli is very good for pushing off negativity. I used it when it was in my haunted apartment, which I talked about recently. It was the only thing that pushed those things away for about a week or so. And I tried a multitude of herbs and spices and flowers, and until I put that patchouli in the basement and on my radiator, it got quiet for like 2 weeks. And the activity had gone to the next building next door and it increased over there. That gave me enough time to get some rest and go look for another apartment. And I did that very quickly around February when I got my tax return. And, I really wanted to get my daughter the heck out of there because she didn't have any psychic training. So, I had to protect her. We had also just gotten away. I got her away from the narcissistic parent. We were healing. We were working on being away from that and healing, which takes time. So we were really, really, really going through it. Thank goodness she's strong. And anyone can be tempted to venture out into something that they wouldn't normally do when they are sleep deprived. And that's what happens when you get sleep deprived by these things. They start implanting suggestions into you, and that's a psychic attack. It's difficult to know exactly how to keep everything protected. And so sometimes you just have to move away. Meditation, number 1, is the foundation for any type of spiritual growth. You learn how to quiet the mind. That way, you can access your subconscious mind. You can have information come through from your subconscious mind, and it might start happening in dreams. So then you need to keep a notebook. You'll understand what different types of symbols mean to you. A dream dictionary can help, but sometimes you just have to figure out what something means to you. So you have to write that down. When we are on a timeline in what is called our South Node, and we have had a lot of exposure to toxic people or parasitic narcissists who either raised us or were relatives, right? Or a sister or a brother, then we have things that we need to try to break off of us psychically, because what happens is there becomes a link psychologically to those people because we are associating or we're living together. This is called psychological entanglement. It's a very real thing. And this is why meditation is going to be so important for those of us that have not become narcissists. They're not interested in that. Okay? Many people who are not interested in self-reflection, self-development, meditation, positive affirmations, they're toxic and they are possessed by a parasite. Everybody else is trying to figure out what's wrong. We are the ones who go to therapy. We are the ones who start working on ourselves, right? Then you know that you are the sane one. You are the healthy one. Now, I have mentioned that I feel it's important to pray for them when they do pass, so they have safe passage to the other side, to the summer land. This is what I talked about yesterday. And I also showed a piece of artwork that was done by a Dutch painter, is what I discovered. It said first when I looked it up that this painting was done by a Dutch artist, and then I guess it was reprinted or copied by a French artist. So I don't know who the original artist is. I will have to let you know. I believe the name of it is called Vampire Feast Dinner with Bones, and it was done in 1609. This artist was probably clairvoyant, because what he drew is correct. It is the invisible phenomenon that I've been talking about that happens with energy siphoning. And as you begin to work on yourself to break away from these people, they are going to be interested in hanging around you even more. Because if you develop an energy and you can recharge, you're going to be their favorite person. So you have to learn how to really focus on getting healthy people who are nurturing, who are caring, who are helpful. And then find a way to gracefully bow out from those that are just constantly asking you either for your time, your attention, or your resources. And that can be a little difficult. For one reason, the 3 times that I've tried to break away from people, I got punished. Boy, they have some foul language like you've never heard before. All of a sudden, you were good for nothing, and then you're worse than that. And they're screaming, leave a message. Leave a message on my voicemail. Screaming. What a horrible piece of shite, and so forth. And so it's really shocking, unbelievable, really shocking. These people that you have bent over backwards for because they're constantly calling you. Nothing is ever right. Nothing is ever getting better. They don't want to wait. And I was still learning. I didn't yet know what a narcissist was. Okay, what's going on with my hair? Help. I need a hairdresser. So we need to recognize those people and what that is. Becoming more developed spiritually or psychically doesn't mean you have to become a healer. A lot of empaths are attracted to energy work and healing, and we want to help others heal. And we really don't understand. We're trying to heal ourselves, and eventually that is what happens. And unless you can put on 3D glasses, you don't know who it is that's coming in pretending like they want to be healed or asking you for help, and really just going to cause you more problems because you're not good enough. You're not enough. It's still not enough. It never will be. I did stop wanting to help people after that. Now I'm venturing out once again to sell my oils, my spiritual oils that you can use for your spiritual practice, and my protective talismans. I might get a website in a couple of months. I don't know. So, in having lunch with my friend today, she said she didn't need any type of a protective amulet or a talisman. Those people will eventually find out one way or the other when they encounter a toxic person. You know, when you're working with people every day on a daily basis, somebody's going to tap into you. Now, she does know how to put up boundaries, put up walls, and say, I don't think I'm a good fit for you. I hope you find somebody else to provide your hair removal services. Thank you. So, some people are naturally very, very careful with their time and their personal space. But I've talked about rubbing elbows. And when you are in close proximity with someone who's either sitting next to you or hanging out close to you for an hour or two, you're energetically commingling while you're talking, but also while your energies are there because everybody has an aura that goes out at least 3 feet. Some people 5 feet. Mine goes out about 12 feet or more. And some people, they have that same thing. When we're relaxed, it goes out farther depending on, how much you've been working on yourself. Hi, please say hello. So, as I said that this particular toxic person had been watching me and hanging out by me, had been given some type of permission from my one of my guides or something, I don't know, to tap into my energy for a certain amount of time. And they were feeling so much better. And I think that's why they were gone for 12 hours a day. And I think they were making more money, right? Obviously, that they wanted more. And because of it, there was a karma consequence. And this person got sick again. So there has to be a balance. We have to work towards that. So a lot of times when I work on banishing negativity, whether it's a person or whatever, I'll also work to try to do a blessing for someone. And the more that you develop yourself and you practice doing a blessing for someone, you'll find that you can call in something to you afterwards that you need. You can receive a blessing as well. But if we are not yet developed to the point where we feel we don't have to martyr ourselves anymore, and this is the problem with the empath whose identity is hijacked by a toxic person, you don't yet realize that you can ask for a blessing after you've been a blessing to somebody else. But you can. So I'm really talking on how to make sure that as you're working on meditating, using mindful meditation, yoga, positive affirmations, candle meditations, whatever it is, to regulate your emotions and start breaking that psychic link, that psychic bond that you had with a toxic person. You also need to protect yourself and your energy with a talisman or an amulet, something that's been charged and consecrated. And smudge yourself with sage or oud or patchouli. Put some type of other protective symbols in your pocket, in your shoes, so that you help your aura energy be stronger as you go to work. I mean, there's toxic people at work, there's toxic people everywhere, and you're picking up those energies. And so when we come home, we really need to take a good shower. And then I put essential oils in my diffuser. They're antibacterial. They're anti-everything, especially oregano. And so that's another thing that helps to purify your space. And it's not smoky. I love these water diffusers. And I use rosemary for my respiratory. And then sometimes I'll put in a drop of rose. That's also very good. That helps your psychic centers. Lighting a candle. Many people, candles are a big business because people light a candle not knowing they want that energy, that purifying energy of the flame as well as the light. It's a soft light which helps you relax, but the candle flame is powerful for developing the third eye. And if you were to look at that for about a minute, you're actually helping to activate your pineal gland. And then it doesn't hurt to have a good diet, drinking water with lemon, and purified water, distilled water. Stop drinking water from the tap that's fluoridated. Until you become psychically advanced, these things can kind of calcify your pineal gland. Hi, there's a third person here. Please say hello. I've got my phone here so I could answer questions. Does anybody have any kind of a question? Or put a heart, or a waving hand, or a smiley face. Takes me half an hour to put my false eyelashes on, so give me a thumbs up. I think a lot of people don't really think it's that important to work on developing their psychic senses or their third eye. But I have seen some very, very hurtful spirits in my vicinity because I've developed my psychic senses. And not everybody will develop them to a high degree, but you can develop them enough to be able to either sense or see something and start asking questions about what's going on in my house. A lot of people tend to ignore things until it gets really bad. And sometimes we develop physical ailments because of a spiritual, a negative spiritual energy that's around us. There's a fourth person. Hello, can you say hello? Oh, they left. You can be anonymous. You can be anonymous. Has anybody seen my most recent videos on energy vampirism? I know it's a very deep, dark, unfun subject, but if we're not aware, I've said we can't hide our head in the sand anymore. We have to wake up and smell the coffee because being aware is being wiser. Oh, Chris Payne, hi. Thank you for stopping. Did you celebrate Mother's Day today? I wasn't sure if anybody would come here tonight. Linda, wearing falsies? Yay, I got some people. Let's see. Not really. My mom disowned me. All right. Well, I was talking about toxic people. I recently had someone who I thought was a friend. You look very nice. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I had someone that I had met at a meetup group for pagans, people who practice goddess-based religion. And we also have a god. We have both, the god and the goddess, right? Like Wicca. And recently, with the change of the presidency, she just was not at all happy. And she got very, very upset because I said, well, I agree with a couple of things he's doing. It's not affecting me in a negative way. And she just was not wanting to have anybody that was not on the same page with her in being upset about things that we really don't have any control over. And she had announced on Facebook, and I went over to Facebook, and she made a post and said, and if you don't agree with this, we're not friends. Okay. And in Fiddler on the Roof, right, when things were changing and his daughters went off to choose their own mate, it was just not something that he could accept. And I feel like, if you care for someone and you've had a lot of good meetings of the minds and you decide just because we have a different point of view on politics that the friendship is over, then those people don't know how to be a friend. They don't know how to exhibit uh, the caring, the unconditional caring of someone who's we're all fallible, right? So yeah, we just have to see it as a blessing in disguise, right? And for that matter, Chris, I don't hear from my kids. They've gone on with their lives. And my youngest had been acknowledging me, but after being off on her own for a few years, and she's not, nearby, out of sight, out of mind. And I had asked them when they were younger to at least acknowledge me on, birthdays and holidays. No such luck. Well, I've been talking about what psychic development is, and if you're going to start doing it, that you really need to make sure that you are doing some type of energy work to protect yourself or wearing a talisman. Because as you're peeling away blocks or psychic links you've had to toxic people, your energy is going to grow, be stronger, and some people can see your aura and they would want to hang out with you and tap into you and pick up on you. And you don't want to have your energy siphoned. This is what I just made my video on yesterday. And I was talking about the artist who did this absolutely incredible painting of people siphoning energy from other people, from their head, from their face, and their face would look distorted. One even had like a wand over to the heart center, taking energy out from the heart. It's an amazing painting. And I think I'm going to pull it up and talk about it on another video. This is the invisible phenomenon that's going on when you are around these people that know how to siphon energy. And this is why you need to know how to protect your aura, protect your energy, wear a talisman, and continue working on your spiritual and psychic development. And also taking notes, keeping a notebook. Because I talked about how when we are peeling ourselves, we're on a particular timeline, like our South Node, in which we could get back into situations with toxic people because that's what we're familiar with. That's what we know. And the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. But you need to say no. Not again. Especially if they're tapping into your dreams and you think, oh, this is wonderful. No. Did you give permission for that? No. And when you become accustomed to someone just taking advantage of you and telling you there's nothing wrong with that, right? They've hijacked your identity. You have a psychic link to them. You need to break it. And this has been the biggest blessing for me as I've worked on myself with meditation, positive affirmations, um, and learning how to program myself for positivity and uh, being peaceful and having a calm mind and faith, no matter what. And that takes practice. But this is the first key to self mastery. And those people who aren't interested in it, that is one big key. You're going to know that they are toxic. It could be possessed by a parasite. I've said this has recently been shown to me literally in an image. And that's why I'm so impressed with this painting I came across, where it illustrates what's happening with energy siphoning. And if you go to open art and you Google vampire dinner feast with bones, open art, you'll find this painting that illustrates all different kinds of spirit images, like an arm with a hand, and then there's a wand like a bone going to a heart and taking out energy, and then there's like a bloody spot there. It's not about biting the neck. That's Hollywood. It's spiritual. And I said, we have to really understand we are spiritual beings first, and the body is second. Our spirit is housed in the body, and the body is really secondary. But we can use it to tap into nature and draw, things to help us. The toxic people can't, the ones that have been possessed by a parasite that now have the spirit of a creature, like I've said in my video the other day, like Edgar the Bug wearing a human suit. This is stuff of nightmares, but we need to accept it. These things of all different kinds are all over the planet. And if you are not protecting yourself, keeping your body and your mind clear and detoxed and staying positive and being happy, you can attract these things. And sometimes we end up being around so many people like this at work that if we don't start acting like them, we get treated like an outsider. We get picked on. And it's hard to realize I have to just find another place to work. And I used to work with, from time to time, I think there was people that were very religious, and they'd say, this is a toxic environment for me. I'm the only Christian. I'm being picked on. I'm going to have to go find another place to work. And I thought that was very brave. That's not easy. Who wants to go pound the pavement again? And sometimes people just allow themselves to get caught up in all of the toxic behaviors of the environment at work. One time I had a job that it was really like a glorified five and dime, but there was a union and I was being pushed to join the union. And I was like starving practically in those days. And I just didn't want to have to pay more money every month to something that supposedly was going to protect me in some way, right? Get me benefits or holidays, vacation pay, or a raise. That company didn't necessarily really like the union because they said that they really weren't getting, they were fighting for a bigger raise. So, I tried to tell them I thought I had a choice, but they went, it was narcissistic, guys. They went on a smear campaign. And my mother finally came in one day, bless her heart, because she would go to bat for me. She would go and fight for me. And she went up to those people and she said, "Can I talk to you for a minute? My daughter's crying. You guys are making her miserable when she comes to work and she's crying. You're bullying her into becoming a part of this union. And she's supposed to have a choice." So if you don't want her to work here, she's probably going to go back to where she used to work, or just leave her alone. So they did leave me alone for a while, and I did go back to where I had previously worked, which was another five and dime, just in the mini mall there, but in another shop. I left. I left. So, it's just not easy. If you're not one of the bad guys, you're a goody two shoes, you're snobbish, you're better than everyone, you're holier than thou, right? And they hate you. And this is not easy. And it doesn't matter what ideology you belong to, right? If you're in an institutionalized religion with a name that follows a guru, a spiritually wise person from the past, it's not about that. It's about choosing to have a calm, peaceful mind and live in faith and kindness and caring and nurturing, and not bullying other people to join your club, whatever it is. And you do develop more of an independent mind as you work on yourself. As you remove a lot of psychic links from toxic people that you've been around for a long time, you become aware of what an autonomous person you really are. And you may have to go from job to job until you find the right place, but it's worth it. Okay. Well, it's been 45 minutes already. I thank everybody for coming. Please give me a thumbs up or put some hearts floating up, or some, I don't know, smiley faces or something. And I thank you very much for stopping by on this Sunday evening. Thank you. There we go. There's the hearts. Yeah. Our heart chakra is very important. I started talking about that a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about that on the next video, and what I've been learning about chakras and how they develop, and how important it is to make sure that we never cut ourselves off from our ability to feel, to grieve, because then we also have the ability to really have joy and real happiness. If we cut ourselves off, we become an open portal, and we can be very open to parasites to just come in and set up house. All right. Thank you so much. Blessed be. Um, You can stop by next time and ask me questions about psychic development, no matter what I'm talking about, okay? I'm always trying to find people that are interested in learning about their spiritual development. And it doesn't matter what I'm talking about, you can ask the question. So, see you. Have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful week. I'm only posting videos about once a week now, and I'm coming on here Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. See you next time. So long.